discipline is good for your kids. They cry out for it. They scream out for it. Please discipline me because I'm not going to do right until you do it. Okay, mama? Let me tell you what the word said, because I'm ignoring everybody that says you should discipline your children, because God said you should. So let every man be a liar and God be the truth. So what did he say in Proverbs 29:17? He says, discipline your son and your daughter, and he will give you rest. He will give you delight. He will give delight to your heart. I remember when me and my husband had to discipline our kids. When I tell you, after a good discipline, they was the nicest, most precious, giving kids you've ever want to see. But before that, I was like, Lord, did who let the dogs out? Like, I mean, what is going on with these children? They acting crazy around here. But once they were properly disciplined, and did you hear me when I said proper discipline? Okay? We're not talking about abuse. We're talking about proper. Do you know that God says, I chasten those I love? God whoop our butt. Okay? I'd rather my mama whoop me than God whoop me. Okay? So let's go on to Proverbs 22:15. 22:15. Are y'all still with me? 22:15. All right, let me get to it. 22:15 says, folly is bound up. Folly, which another translation says foolishness. Somebody say foolishness is bound up in a child's heart. Well, let me get, I'm missing my spot here. There it is. Folly is bound up in a child's heart, but the rod of discipline drives it far from him. Some of y'all got some real bad kids because you refuse to discipline them. Now listen, sometimes I got 4 boys. So sometimes discipline looks different from one kid to the next, right? So one day I overheard my kids talking, having a conversation about whoopings and punishments. So I was listening in, sneaking in on the conversation. They had to been about 12, 11, 10, and then, 2 years down from that, right? So I heard them say, what do you want? What would you prefer better? A whooping or punishment? And all of them, except for one, said, oh, I'll take punishment. But my son said, oh no, I'll take a whooping all day. They was like, you crazy, you crazy. He was like, listen, while y'all on the punishment, I'm outside riding my bike. I'm playing, but y'all are stuck in the house. See, he said a whooping only lasts a few seconds. It's over with. He said, but a punishment lasts for days. I'll take the whooping, right? That's my son, Blake, okay? You know why? Because Blake loves to ride his bike. So this is the way we properly discipline Blake. We took that bike away from him. You know why? Whoopings didn't do nothing for Blake. Blake can take a whooping and keep on ticking, okay? But when we took that bike, because my boys stayed outside. They wasn't on no phones because they ain't have none, okay? We didn't give them phones until later on, right? He was like, no, Mom, please, anything but the bike, right? So some of your kids might not require a spanking. Take their cell phone away. Take that game away. Take their privileges that they really enjoy away from them. And it's like, oh my goodness, I'll do anything not for that to happen. But at the same time, they need the discipline. Whether you're taking a bike, whether you're taking a phone, whether you're putting them on punishment, they can't go nowhere with their friends. The discipline is required in raising a well-rounded child. Now, before I go any further, I need to bring balance to this because some of y'all out there go a bridge too far and you move over into child abuse, and God is not for child abuse, so cut it out, okay? Because you're going to go to jail, okay? Let us see what God has to say. And mind you, in this scripture, God is talking to the men. Why? Because men, y'all could be a little bit too rough sometimes. You go a bridge too far, baby. Let's go to Ephesians 6:4. It says fathers. It didn't say mothers. It said fathers. It says, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. He says, do not provoke your children. How can you provoke your children when you go a bridge too far? When you are operating, you're going to move from proper discipline to child abuse. Number one, it's a sin against God. And two, you're going to jail, baby. That's what the paddy wagon coming to pick your tail up because you don't went a bridge too far. Let me add this last scripture too, because some women do this too. That's why God will bring balance in the scripture. He didn't leave you out, baby. So he went over to, let's go over to Proverbs 19 and 18. Okay, because this is happening in our world, unfortunately. Okay, I just saw a news flash on my phone when a mother killed her child and put her in the freezer. See, that's evil. And see, sometimes y'all mix up what God is saying with that. God is not for that. That is pure evil. So Proverbs 19 and 18 says this: discipline your son, for there is hope. So God is saying discipline them because there's hope in them. They're young. Foolishness reigns in a child's heart. Discipline, for there is hope. Do not set your heart on putting him to death. It's in the scriptures. I know some of y'all never. He said, don't put your heart on putting him to death. Some of y'all are so frustrated with your kids where you have lost control, where you have went into child abuse. And some people have already murdered their own children because you have no balance and evil has filled your heart. God is not for that. And it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And I just want everybody to be clear. God is not for that. Never. Not even a piece of that. That's why he warned the fathers and he's warning the mothers. Don't do that to your children. God is not for abuse. Now let's get ready for number 5, because I ain't playing with you.